So first of all, what grade are going into now?
I'm now going into 8th grade.
You get older, I don't. Those are the rules, just so you know. Okay, so I had asked about things that you think we should have learned about in school more explicitly or specifically that we didn't get to do. So what was the topic you said you wanted to talk about?
I feel like we should have learned more about manners because I feel that it plays a huge role in day-to-day life, and I feel like it can affect like relationships in like the future.
Okay, so what kind of sparked that, or what made you realize that that was something that was not being taught, or you weren't?
Well, so I've heard my parents have, when they went to school, they had classes on that, and I feel that it has taken like a huge impact on my life. I feel like that's why some of my relationships are so strong. It's because because I feel like when I go to my friend's house, I'm always my please and thank yous to their parents. I feel like that. And so I feel like I wouldn't have as strong of relationships with their parents, or like I wouldn't be able to hang out as much with them if I wasn't as kind to their parents as I am. I feel I am.
Yeah. So it definitely extends outside of the classroom then too.
Yeah.
So what are manners to you?
Well, there's a lot of things that have to do with manners. There's first like verbal manners. Basically, your please and thank yous is huge. And then you also have stuff like table manners, where you never have both your elbows on the table. You put a napkin on your lap, stuff like that. I feel also just being kind to the person that you're always talking to, eye contact and stuff like that.
Okay. Do you feel like there's been examples in school where you feel there was a lack of manners, or you were not noticing manners?
Yes, last year I felt very awkward in one of my classes. It was over a Google Meet, and so one of the kids left, and our teacher asked where he went, and he said he went to the bathroom, but in very vulgar terms, and it left the whole class very uncomfortable and awkward and stuff like that. Yeah, so
okay. It can definitely impact the environment.
Yes, and not in a good way. Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to teach a class, or if you would have liked to see it in school, what would you have taught, or how would you teach it? Where do you think it can be kind of brought up?
So I feel like it could just be brought up, I guess, daily. I mean, it doesn't have to be, I don't think there has to be like a specific class just for manners, but I feel like just daily, just reminders that the teacher gives, just reminding them that, if they say something kind of rude, or they kind of like jump ahead, something like that, just doesn't have to be like a specific class, but just reminders throughout the day.
Okay. Why do you think that there might have been, you mentioned your parents had classes on it, which I think that's really cool. Why do you think it has changed? Why do you think you're noticing maybe fewer students or people in general with manners? Why do you think that might be a reason?
Everything's always changing. And I feel like other things have gotten in the way, like just some teachers are so focused on just doing the curriculum that we don't get to go real world kind of stuff.
But is there something that stands out to you as like a very basic starting place? Like, let's just start all saying please and thank you, or do you think that's okay? And there's some other areas that you feel like we need to kind of.
I feel like please and thank you is always the standard. It's like the first things that you learn as a kid, and a few other things, just like eye contact is always important. I feel like that. And
what do you think eye contact tells the other person? Like, why do you feel
eye contact tells them that you care about what the conversation that is going on, and you're actually listening to them, and this conversation means something, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of feel like sometimes when I notice both students and adults, it's not just one or the other, that maybe where manners are not maybe being shown or coming through, sometimes maybe it's because there's a lack of respect, or maybe they feel like they should kind of be able to speak or talk however they want to. Do you feel like that's true? Do you feel like people should just be able to walk around and speak however they want? Or
I feel like, again, people should be free to say what they want, but I feel like it should always have like a good tone to it. You can't really say basically you can't just go around just rude, just saying whatever's on your mind in like a
offending
rude tone. Yeah, you got to think before you act. Again, you can say what you want to say, but I don't think it's allowed to be with like a rude tone, or it shouldn't be like
unnecessarily disrespectful. Do you think there's a polite way to say everything?
Yes. Well, I feel like there is a polite way to say most things, but like if you're outright just trying to argue or like offend someone, I don't know if there's really a polite way to say that.
Or if you're just angry or maybe standing up for a point that you believe in or something that you think is okay. Do you feel like obviously your parents have done a fantastic job with you and teaching you manners and the importance of manners and how that can really get you far, if not farther than those that don't. Do you feel like it's made you a better person overall?
I definitely feel like it has made me a better person. It has also like strengthened relationships with like the people that I know, and like it's gotten me, well, it's helped to take me where I am today. Yeah.
And where is it that you are today that you feel like I'm really glad I'm here?
I feel like I always seem to have a good relationship with my teachers. You're one of my favorites, and I always seem to basically be able to connect with them, and they seem to like me as well. And that, I feel like that also helps with like grading and whatnot, stuff like that.
Okay, definitely. How do you think having good manners? This is a good tip for students who might be watching. So how does having good manners help with grading?
So I've been taught, so like math, it doesn't really help in like math, because math, it's you're right or you're wrong.
Okay.
But like LAL, it is your opinion, right? It is your opinion when you're grading. And I feel like if you have good manners and you like the student, sometimes it's not like gonna change a complete, like an F to like an A plus, but like it can help you, and it will help you. And it makes the teachers want to talk to you about your grade more. It makes the teachers want to help you more and to improve your, say, writing. Yeah.
I would agree with that. I would agree that it's not going to necessarily change the grade or overall way that we're approaching how to grade it, but it will certainly maybe motivate us to whether it's help you differently, or it'll motivate us to kind of also, I think, have a better understanding of you as a student, know that you would have tried your hardest and that you want to do your best, and knowing that in a student does definitely make a difference. So I agree with that. And so if you had to give, like, I want to say top 5 tips on how to be polite to like students that might be watching this, and let's say in school in particular, because I do think in school when parents are not around is when you kind of get a different side of kids sometimes, and you kind of really see if the manners that are there come through or not. And you are always exceptional with your manners, and I can say that without a doubt. So what do you think top 5 tips would be that you would suggest?
But I would say, okay, so one thing is never talk over the person that you're talking to.
Okay.
Another thing, always have eye contact. Think before you speak. Think about what you're going to say. Always talk with a nice tone. Be respectful in what you're saying. And I guess like last one, like never like jump to conclusions. I would say never like jump ahead of someone. Never, I guess, like speak before you've heard everything.
So like don't assume the worst in them, or that they're lying or anything like that.
Assume,
Okay. And part of what I had emailed was if there's any kind of evidence or research or anything that motivates you to think that manners really do in the long term have an effect.
I have like one quote that I feel like from an article that I feel like really helped.
Okay.
Like long-term type stuff.
Okay.
So it says, for instance, if your child is up for his first job and his credentials match other candidates, the more polite and mannerly candidate may end up with the job. If your child wants to ask a particular girl out, she may refuse a relationship if your child has bad manners. Even before those adult scenarios, your younger children may find that good manners go a long way in endearing himself to teachers, coaches, and peers.
So what does that mean to you?
Basically, like, it can affect anything. Like, I really like the job one, because that's like, really looking ahead. And like thinking, even if you have what the job is looking for, the boss might not want a rude person in their office to work for them, and that can affect your life greatly if you really needed a job at that point in life. And really, good manners is the only thing that affected if you got the job or not.
Yeah, and what I really like about that is it doesn't cost us a whole lot to be polite, but it can give you a lot of benefit, a lot more than it costs you to actually be polite. So I think that's a great point, especially when it comes to a career. I don't think anyone would say they want to work with someone that's impolite or difficult to work with. So that's a great quote. Where did you find that?
That was from the Center for Parenting Education. So.
Oh, okay. Very nice. As far as in like sports and things like that, I know you played baseball. I'm assuming you still do.
Yes, I still do.
Okay.
Starting with football. Yeah.
Do you see this kind of manifest or come out differently in those places?
Yes, you always want to have a strong relationship with your coaches because they're the people that decide if you're playing or not, or if you're on the bench, or you're where to put you in the lineup, stuff like that. And like you always want to be kind to them because they basically they get to choose they have a huge impact on how you do in the sport and what you're able to do.
Do you feel like there's peer pressure at your age to not be polite? Is it considered like uncool? Do you get a sense of that ever?
See, yes, this is kind of like the change from to now. I feel like before polite, it was like good to be polite, right? But sometimes now it feels like it's cool that you said like something rude to a teacher, or like you're the tough guy or something like that. I don't, which kind of seems like it's prevalent in today's kind of like in how peer pressure works today. Like you're the tough guy if you stood up and said something like rude to the teacher or something like that.
And how do you fight that? Because I'm sure someone watching this would even if they agree with you, they may still actually in practice still act like that in front of their friends or their peers because it is considered cool. Talk back to the teacher. I didn't do my homework because I'm too cool. Like whatever it might be. How do you fight that?
Right. Okay. So basically, what I can say is like, just think to yourself, why? Like, why is it really that important that you're considered the tough guy when it's so much more important for like, well, think of who's looking. So like, they think you're cool, like your friends, but if they think you're that cool, then they can't be that good of friends because that's not a good thing to look at. I would much rather the teacher think I'm a better kid than like your friends. Like because if your friends think that, then they're probably not the greatest people.
Because they should probably want what makes you better, not what makes you or gets you in trouble. I agree. That was awesome. That was great. Good luck with school. And obviously, I'm always here if you ever need anything.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Steven. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.